Hello and welcome to episode 6 of the Jostar podcast. Today we will be talking about Miss Marvel, the finale, and the San Diego Comic Con announcements that happened last Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. First off, let's go into Miss Marvel episode 6, the finale. So it started off with Cameron having powers and them being followed by the Department of Damage Control. It was very odd to see Cameron have similar powers to Kamala, but it also was, I think, his mother going into him and him gaining powers from that. A thing I saw, which was very quick, and it was the Statue of Liberty. I don't know if this took place before the construction or after the destruction in Spider-Man No Way Home, but it's back to normal. So I did have a feeling that, like, if it's beforehand, then they hadn't started building on it. But if with Spider-Man No Way Home, they had continued to destroy it, they might have stopped construction and said, "Oh, we'll just keep the Statue of Liberty as the Statue of Liberty." But that's something to think about. The rumor went on that Kamala is Light Girl, or whatever they called her, and so she told her mum, who told her father, who was overheard by her brother and his wife, and it was a bit of a funny scene, but like they acted pretended to act so surprised, and that was quite a comical effect. But yeah, and now they finally understand and they are proud of her, and it's something you probably wouldn't get if you were part of a Muslim family. Next, Kamala heard that Brandon was in trouble, and so she was going to leave, but her mum stopped her, and we got the first visual look at her suit. It looked so great, and it was really almost comic accurate. Comic and real life, completely different, because of past Avengers films, and how it's comic accurate because most of Phase 4 has comic accurate costumes. Like in Thor Love and Thunder, Thor's costume looked like he did when he was in the comics, and Jane Foster on the same thing looked alike. Hawkeye, he got his in the series, he got his comic book look, and a lot of others, if you go back, you'll notice they look almost exactly like their comic accurate characters. And like I was saying, it was more gold, the stripe, than orange. When she was running, I liked how she actually followed the law, even though she wasn't really in a car, but she was running, and then the traffic light went red, and so she stopped, which was good. Even though she could have literally just gone, because she's walking over things rather than like running in the middle of the road where most accidents could happen. But it was a bit of a fun thing to see her stop and then it turn green and her just start going. Like the Department of Damage Control, and they came back into the mosque. Very annoying. Like they didn't really set them up. They didn't really give Miss Marvel a villain unless you count the mother who killed her great grandmother. But the Department of Damage Control is the one that was like behind most of it, and the fact that they were in the school later on, and they just decided, let's shoot these kids in front of the school. Well, not shoot them, but attack them in front of the school using their name. But we'll get on to that. I like how Kamar. Well, I don't know if they had like an artist or something draw on the board, but they drew on the board, and then this was the plan, and it kind of like went from chalk into realistic, and so it worked out well until it didn't near the end. But I feel like it was a good one. Department Trogo, yeah. Yeah, the fight between them, they were using most of the things they could inside school. So they had like a science experiment, and they had the thing where they pour something into it, and then I think they put it in like a box or something, and then someone went to open it, it just boomed everywhere. Now it's quite a silly trick. It's what pranksters would be doing. It's more of a dangerous prank than say mortal harm. And the softball thing that happened, and they didn't notice them sneaking up behind, and so they got caught. And yeah, it was insane. They all got caught in different ways. Brandon got caught, he was dancing, and then they came round the front and they were like, oh, we're gonna get him. But he didn't notice them sneaking up on his left, and so he was like, whoa, and then he got tackled. And yeah, it was pretty insane. And then they ended up going in a truck. Like I said, the other three got caught by doing the softball thing, by attacking them straight forward and not focusing on what's behind them. Yeah. When Kamala hit the car and in her new superhero form, and the sound things, which had come up a couple of times, it gave me Incredible Hulk vibes when they were trying to calm him down, and he would rise up and then it would go. Well, like, seriously, stop using that sort of technology to harm, well, calm/harm heroes. It didn't work on the Incredible Hulk. It's not going to work on a teenager with cosmic powers. She helped Cameron get away, and he was able to meet up with the Red Knives guy who um, was. I think they ended up doing like we didn't get much. We just got a clip of the meeting and him saying sit down. He didn't do anything else from that. But hopefully, what's happened with him, and he's taken care of him. He's making sure he understands what's going on, and hopefully, there's no hard feelings. The Department of Damage Control lady. There was there was her, and she went against the rules of the guy in the actual station place where they work, and she got fired because. And I loved that scene so much. It was like, you're not gonna say anything. You're gonna pack up your stuff and you're going to leave. And I was like, whoa, nah, that's a crazy one. And then her father gave her official name, and Kamala means marvel in, um, I don't know the official language. And she was like super engaged that she has the sort of same name as Carol Danvers. And then her father finally said, "You're a sort of Miss Marvel." And that was a really cool way of finally understanding. Like, it's kind of like most things, how like episode if you do watch a certain series and it's like 6 episodes long, at the start and they get their powers, they don't understand them, and then throughout they have to learn to live with them, try and hide them from certain people, and then at the end, like a friend or a family member will be like, "Oh, you're Miss Marvel," and or whatever the superhero's name is, and I love when people do that and they give the name to the character. Like there was this final shot, I think it was. Um, and there was another scene where TikTok blew up, and it was like, "Oh, who is this? I wonder who she is." Like it was like supporting Miss Marvel so much, and it was like it went on for about 5 minutes or so, and it was a very interesting thing. And I'm actually surprised Marvel was allowed to do that, and it was pretty cool. And there was then this next scene later. I think it was near the end where she was sitting on a lamppost, and if you've seen one of the comics, um, one of the ones she's doing is she's sitting on the lamppost, and it was like a hint to that, and I was like, that's really amazing how they've linked so many things. Like in every Marvel project so far, they have linked it so well to the comics, whether it's been a hint to a front page or whether it's actually doing how the character acts or what the character actually looks like and that sort of thing. And they've done really well with that. And I support them for that. And then near the end, Brandon tells her she's a mutant. X-Men DNA of that sort of thing in human um, X-Men, that sort of thing is what Kamala's DNA has. Even though yeah. And the post-credit scene with Carol Danvers Brie Larson. It was quite funny but short, and we'll probably find out more in the Marvels. So like, hopefully we'll learn a lot more about it. Okay, San Diego Comic-Con happened last week. If you do not know what has happened, Marvel fans are so happy about what's happened. But before we talk about Marvel, we've got to talk about DC. And for oh, sorry about that. Before we talk Marvel, we've got to talk DC. So, DC only had a short panel because of the whole Flash and Aquaman situation. We won't talk about that. I don't want to go into details, but if you know, you know. But The Rock showed up in Black Adam cosplay. That in his Black Adam suit. That was crazy. He showed us the trailer for that. It was good, but we've got to move on. Shazam! Fury of the Gods. Okay, so the trailer was actually quite funny. Like, I feel like Zachary Levi is a bit skinnier than he was in the first one, but that might be because they want him to look more frail or something like that. And it's quite amazing. And what they have done with introducing the gods of the Shazam universe and bringing back the original Shazam, pretty cool. He did have there were some comical moments. All the kids, they've grown up a little from the last time. It's there's probably still going to be a little bit of a foster family theme with the family, but at the end of the first Shazam, they all got powers, and so hopefully they're all going to like develop and learn on what's happened. So hopefully we're going to get some good things happening from that. Now, on to Marvel. First off, I Am Groot coming out August 5th. We had the trailer. It was quite amazing. It focused more on Baby Groot, so I think it is going to take place between Guardians Volume 2 and Infinity War, because, as you know, it goes Guardians of the Galaxy, and then 2 months later, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. So it technically all takes place in 2014. So if we take the time, it takes 4 years for them to kind of return. So, and by the time it's Infinity War, Groot is a teenager. And so hopefully it will focus in between those two things. And it was very cool. It was very cute. Vin Diesel's going to get a lot of love. And I've heard Bradley Cooper's who voices Rocket, is going to get a couple of lines. So hopefully we do see him. It feels like it's going to be a little 5-episode adventure series. Hopefully all 5 episodes come out at once. But if not, 5 weeks. Each week I'll be reviewing the episodes, which is good. Spider-Man freshman year, we got it. It's going to come out in 2024, and it looks like it's set in a different universe because a couple of pictures came out, and there was one where Aunt May was, in Homecoming, where Aunt May looks behind and Tony is next to her. In the animated picture, it's Aunt May and Norman Osborn is standing up, and so we're probably going to get a different universe version. And also, if you didn't know, Tom Holland is not coming back to voice this Peter Parker, so it could most likely take place in a different universe. There are going to be villains from the other verses, so Doc Ock, Rhino, um, Sandman, most of the ones that showed up in No Way Home, and then some others as well. And then we're getting another Daredevil cameo. Well, in the Spider-Man one, because Spider-Man does team up with Daredevil quite a bit in the comics, and that is amazing what they're doing with bringing back him, which will lead up to something a little later. um, and we're apparently getting a second season, which is Spider-Man's sophomore year. For all you British people out there, sophomore year is the year before you go into high school. Okay. And that is probably going to focus on how Peter becomes Spider-Man, more likely. Hopefully, we'll get some Uncle Ben talk. And yeah. Next up is What If Season 2. First off, I'd like to say I did love most of the What If series of the first one. Nah, I feel like it's gonna focus more on Phase 4, so it's gonna focus on like Thor: Love and Thunder. Let's go WandaVision. Like it might be, what if Wanda never went into Westview or something like that? Or maybe it's like, what if Jane never became the Mighty Thor? Or something like that. I am not a Marvel. I am not working for Marvel, so my guess is as good as yours. And also, we've got a season 3 confirmation. I don't know what it's going to focus on, but hopefully it should maybe do 5 and 6 if we go on with it. That's the thing. Next up, we have the X-Men animated series, also known as X-Men 97. I wasn't around to see this, so I don't have a preference on it. Like, I am going to be happy to see what it's like and see what happens with what's going on, and like what we've seen. It looks like Magneto is taking over the X-Men, and he's leading them to greatness and or worseness. We don't know. It's the animated series. I have no clue what's really going on. And we've got a Marvel Zombies. This was one of the good ones I'm looking for. I like the what if episode of what if blank blank were zombies. I did like that, and I think it's going to carry on with that if not like do certain things and change things about. But I'm happy with whatever happens, because like it was just an episode of What If. So if this becomes a series, what it's likely to do is to bring in new zombie version characters and and let us know what goes on if zombies, and like with the what if episode, we might be getting Spider-Man's tips again, and certain characters might be returning to voice them. And then next up is the okay, so phase 4 is going to end with She-Hulk and Wakanda Forever. Then we're going to move on to phase 5. And then phase 6, starting with Fantastic Four. I'm not going to tell you what it ends with, because we're going to come to that later. But to phase 5 we go. And we're going to be talking about Secret Invasion, Spring 2023. The first Marvel show of 2023. Secret Invasion. Well, it's got a new logo and it looks incredible. What we know about it is that it's apparently going to be Nick Fury and Talos from the Captain Marvel series, hunting people to see if they are Skrulls. And I have heard, I don't know if this is just me or whether I've heard it from someone, but apparently they're going to walk into a room and a bunch of people are going to reveal themselves as Skrulls. Okay. Next up, the first film, Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. Now, I am excited for this, not only for the comedy aspect, but it will be the first film after Loki season 1 to introduce Kang as a villain. There was a trailer, I wasn't able to see it, but from the gist of it, Scott has written a book. He's being very silly. We find Cassie in jail, and they all go to the quantum realm, and they're going to meet Bill Foster's character, and MODOK's going to show up. Kang's going to defeat that colony, and that's all I could get from it. But the next film afterwards, we're going to get Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 out May 5th, 2023. Its logo has changed a bit from the last one. The last one looked more like a back of a car. But hopefully this one I am excited for. We're getting Adam Warlock, we're getting Rocket's backstory. Hopefully we get a look at adult Groot, hopefully in a post-credit scene. From what I've heard of the trailer, apparently he's more of like a young adult, so he's not his full-grown tree self, but he's also not his scrawny teenager self. So he's in a phase where he's bulking up, and yeah. I missed writing this out, but we're going to get a series on Echo. If you remember the deaf lady from Hawkeye, she's getting her own series, and we're going to get we're gonna bring back Vincent De Niro's character, Kingpin, because she is his niece. She is his niece, and then after that, Loki season 2, another hype one. I'm hyped for this one because at the end of Loki season 1, we saw that big statue of Kang, and also with Sylvie killing Kang, we might get another variant of him showing up in the series, and we might even get a hint towards other stuff, like maybe Loki goes back to Asgard, or something like that. We might get reintroduced to Kid Loki and Alligator Loki, who could maybe join him and become and go into the Young Avengers of a certain universe, and that's how we end up getting maybe, yeah. It's pretty cool. It's plain. The logo's plain. It's the same as the first one, with just season 2 written out in yeah. And then from the end of the last panel, we got Blade, and we've got an official release date of November 3rd, 2023. I'm not that big a fan of no, I've never really learned that much about Blade, but I want to give it a try because I didn't know about Shang-Chi, and now Shang-Chi is one of my top 10 Marvel films. And I did the same with Eternals, but it wasn't for me. I wasn't that interested. But I want to give it a go because Midnight Suns is one of my favorite groups alongside the Avengers. Yep. And also, if you remember, at the end of Eternals, we got the Black Knight, and we got a voice that was like, "Do you want to join my team?" And it was Blade talking to him. Man, am I all right for that? I want to give it a go because it is going to be something, hopefully. And then we've got another series, Ironheart, fall 2023. Now, this one, I am not that excited for, but I want to give it a try but the thing is, she's going to show up in Wakanda Forever, and if she does well in Wakanda Forever and she is one of my favorite characters, I will watch it. But if she's more of a yeah sort of thing, I'm still gonna watch it, but I'm not that certain of how I'm going to react to the things. Next up, we have the Agatha Harkness show, Agatha Convent of Chaos. recently renewed from House of Harkness. Now, Agatha Harkness as a character, she is a bit on the odd side, and so I want to give it a go. Hopefully, it's probably going to focus more on Agatha than say like other people. But if there are certain cameos, the people I am most likely wanting to show up are Wanda, maybe White Vision, and maybe a hint at Wong or Doctor Strange. But those are the sorts of people I would want to see if they cameoed. Next up, Captain America 4. 4. 4. Um, May 3rd, 2024. Um, Now, this one is one I'm really excited for because the Captain America trilogy is one of my favorites. And this one, I feel like if they go 4, 5, 6, they can make a Sam Wilson trilogy. But if not, this one's gonna more focus on the Falcon and the Winter Soldier sort of series. So it's like adding on to the end of that. So like if you want to watch it, then you're going to have to understand the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I wouldn't say the Falcon and the Winter Soldier is one of my favorite projects, but I did like it when Sam Wilson got given the title of Captain America. And um, I yeah, I when I was younger and before this even came out, I wanted Bucky to become Captain America, but now that I've grown, I've understand why he can't become Captain America. A, because of the brainwashing, and B, because of the attack that he's done, and that he's also almost a fugitive. Okay. Um, Another exciting thing, Daredevil Born Again. Now, this is an 18 episode series, and I am excited for it because because it's quite a good show, and hopefully it kind of changes from the original Daredevil series, because like I know I've had a chance to watch it on Disney Plus, but I haven't. And so um I really want them to like um get an idea of what's happening. And now will be coming in spring 2024. Also, Charlie Cox will be reprising his role as Daredevil, and Vincent D'Onofrio will get more of Kingpin in that series as well. And a surprise one, the Thunderbolts. Now, if you do not know who the Thunderbolts are, they're basically the Suicide Squad of the Marvel Universe. And recently, in post-credit scenes like Black Widow, Falcon and the Winter Soldier, maybe She-Hulk, we're not sure, Val has been collecting these characters, and they're going to make a team and try and maybe defeat the other Avengers. And now we move on to phase 6, starting with Fantastic Four. No casting or director yet. Hopefully, we'll get that at D23. I'll do another stream I'll do another one like this where I tell you about what's happened at D23, and also it's going to end with Avengers 5 and Avengers 6. Avengers 5. We'll start off with Fantastic Four. November 8th, 2024. That's all we've got. No other characters and other things. We know a date, and that's it. Avengers 5, the title is the Kang Dynasty. Now, this is the real villain we're moving up to. Kang. He's the next Thanos, and maybe in the future we might get Galactus. And then we have the release date, which is May 2nd, 2025. And then the next one is Secret Wars, which will release November 7th, 2025. The title being Secret Wars. And in between these, we have a certain amount of movies and stuff that haven't been announced, movies and shows that haven't been announced. And these are my ideas of what they could be. So we maybe X-Men, Deadpool 3, Shang-Chi 2, a Wanda-led series, because we believe she hasn't died and she does have one more appearance or something like that. Spider-Man 4, Ghost Rider, Midnight Suns, and a Young Avengers series. And altogether, phase 4, 5, and 6 are called the Multiverse Saga. Okay, now moving on, we got the Black Panther trailer. Now, we don't know what's going to happen because Chadwick Boseman passed away a couple of years ago. It still hurts for some people. And what they're going to do, we don't know. But here is what I wanted to say. Okay, so afterwards, the mother has reclaimed the throne. So maybe, I don't know if this is true or not, but we don't know if the mother got dusted. So maybe the mother took the throne whilst Shuri and T'Challa were dusted. And so she reclaimed it, and then a couple of after the 5-year gap, she passed. She unfortunately found out that her son had passed away, and so on and so on. And I don't know. I did originally think Nakia was pregnant, but we might be getting the birth of Namor in that scene. Shuri has shortened her hair and is still working on tech. So, yeah, she meets up with Ray Williams, and they're probably going to focus on maybe making a new Black Panther suit for Shuri, or maybe they're working on an idea to go back to the realm of the Panthers or something like that. There seems to be a funeral happen. Well, obviously the funeral is for T'Challa, and they're all wearing white to represent purity. And the people of Atlantis are attacking. So this one's going to focus more on Namor versus Wakanda. And and yeah, and that's mostly it, except for the fact that right at the end, someone's wearing a Black Panther suit. Who could it be? We don't know. And then we got the She-Hulk trailer 2. Um, um, the CGI for this was much better, I'd like to say. It was a lot easier. So right at the start, we have Bruce do an air horn on her, and so he's trying to make her be in touch with her superhero side, whereas Jennifer just wants to be a lawyer. And in that scene, we got the fact that Jennifer is going to have to transfer from just normal court cases to superhero court cases. So that could probably include well, not anymore, but I was going to say the Spider-Man incident and stuff like that. We also get a look at some villains who are probably going to attack her when she's working in the middle of a case. And afterwards, Wong shows up and he talks about the Book of Vishanti, um, which is a bit odd to show up in a She-Hulk film, because it's more, the Book of Vishanti is more to focus more on like Doctor Strange, Wong, maybe even a bit of Spider-Man. And then Tim Roth as Abomination, he's going to return. And like I said with the Thunderbolts one, he might be recruited by Val in like maybe a post-credit scene or something like that. And he wants Jennifer to be his lawyer so that he can get out of the state prison or something like that. And Abomination looks a lot better than he did in, say, The Incredible Hulk. Even though he did show up in Shang-Chi, we only just got a blur version of him. And he was being trained by Wong. And yeah, like I said, a superhero department has been made for Jennifer to work on, and so she's probably going to, even though she is mainly a superhero, yeah, and she breaks the fourth wall a lot. So there was that scene where Bruce is like, "Oh, I respect you for being a lawyer," and then she looks, and then she looks again, and she kind of breaks the fourth wall then. The person at the end, I was gonna say I hope is Daredevil, but from what people have been saying the last couple of times, we do get the idea for Daredevil being in his yellow costume. And so, yeah, that was the She-Hulk trailer. Also, I wanted you to ask me whether you wanted me to. Let me start again. Sorry. I wanted to ask you if you wanted me to do trailer reactions. So, like, watch maybe the Black Panther 2 trailer. I could maybe watch the um, other trailers as well. Thank you so much for watching, and join me next time where we might be talking about DC Super Pets and horoscope, fact or fiction. Thank you so much for joining me, and I will see you next week. And I don't know why I'm doing this. I just want to get to 50s. So that it looks 3, 2, 1.